If you want to create wealth for yourself, I'll be honest with y'all. I think we talk about real estate way too much. I think we talk about other types of like alternative type of investing way too much. Like the low hanging fruit of just getting out of debt, saving money, putting money into a brokerage account, putting money into your individual retirement account, putting money into your HSA if you can afford to, make sure you choose the right spouse, right?
That right there.
Those are the most important. It's like the movie Hitch. And he's doing the things with his Q-tips and throwing it away and doing all this stuff. Is like, and what does Hitch say? He's like, listen, just a 2-step, simple. And that's what it is with your finances, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got my 401k. Ooh, you can do that sometimes. Ooh, yeah.
What
right?
move is that?
That's the HSA. That's the HSA. You got a good spouse, you know what I'm saying? Who you can trust. You know what they do at night, you know what I'm saying? You know where they be at. People try to make it too complicated, yo. Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Docs Outside the Box. It's your boy, Dr. Nee. I'm joined by
Dr. Renee. My voice is hoarse.
Oh, well, we didn't ask for an explanation what's up with your voice, but
I think people would like to know.
I wanted to tell people that we know that it's been a minute. It's been close to 2 months since we put out an episode. And I just want everybody to know that life has been lifing. And for me, I'll be really honest with you all. Between surgery, my schedule, the travel between Ghana and then trying to get back into a normal schedule of work and family, and just honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, I just needed some space to breathe, some space to kind of refill the tank creatively. And I found myself watching a lot of videos and watching a lot of content on YouTube and listening to a lot of other podcasts, and just, I don't know, I just didn't feel like creating. And I just wanted to consume. And I think that, next year, Renee, 2026 will be our 10 years of putting out the show. I just, sometimes you just want to just recenter things. I just wanted to, I don't know, I just didn't feel like recording. So that's the reason why I took a pause. So, but I do want to thank, because I look at the download numbers, people still downloading this show, and everybody who's downloading this, I want to say thank you very much for downloading the show, listening to the show, rocking with us, being patient. Some of you all have reached out and checked on us, still pressing play. But I just wanted to be very open with you guys and let you know that I don't want to be someone who just, I just don't want to be someone who just, presses play to record and creates something just to fill silence, right? Like I just wanted whatever I say to be meaningful. So I want you guys to know that we want it to be real. I want it to be intentional, and I ultimately want it to be worth your time. So I'm back, plus and record. You should know that I'm rested. I'm ready to go. I'm recentered, and I'm ready.
So you got something meaningful to say.
Yeah. But before we get into today's episode, because I'm just going to keep this intro quick, I want to take a moment because we have to recognize and honor the life of D'Angelo. This is a big deal to me. He died on my birthday, October 14th. And a lot of us, including me, who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, that first album, Brown Sugar, Alfred, if you could put a screenshot of that up there, it wasn't just an album. That thing was a moment for me. As you know, Renee, I'm still quoting lyrics from that album. Ladies, my favorite track from that album. It was a whole atmosphere. It started the whole neo soul movement, right? There's a lot of stories that I got to share about this album, how it shaped my teenage years, my teenage brain. And I definitely didn't understand it at that time. I definitely understand it now, but it was a time, right? It was a vibe,
Yeah,
right? I don't know if Brown Sugar was big for you as it was for me, because you were older than me. So
get out of here, Nee. Start with this mess again.
But you wasn't a teenager when this album came out, though.
I wasn't. What was I, 30 or something?
I don't know, something.
So I was a teenager.
You shouldn't have been on the high school backyards trying to get with us, though. So.
Anyway.
But no, I'm not done actually yet. I'm not done, because actually I'm going to leave a segment for that. And then let me finish my intro. And then we're going to get into something that I've been reflecting on for a lot this whole month, guys. The best financial decisions that I have made over the last decade. I've had a lot of time to think about this. And I just want to say, guys, we've tried a lot of different things, and you're going to hear about the good moves. You're going to hear about the bad moves. You're going to hear about the experiments. Dr. Renee on the lam from the IRS. And I can look back and can you stop sighing? I'm still doing my intro. I want you guys to know what's actually creating freedom versus what's just hype. You know, for me, it's stability and peace that I'm looking for from these decisions. And I think you guys would like to hear the real. So, and then we got a question from the audience. You know, I always love that part because that's the best part of the show. So let's get into it. Let's jump into real quick, taking some time off. So I just want to say this real quick. Renee, I think I have at least 3 texts that I sent to you. That question or that said how many times we're going to record.
Yes.
So I just want to know how many times did you get sick of me saying we're going to record today and then I canceled.
I never got sick of you.
Really?
No. I figured when you were ready to record, we record.
You weren't worried at all? Because it was like, yo, because you would say we don't have a podcast. Don't
I did
lie.
say that.
So
you were like, yeah,
say.
something about the podcast. And I was like, oh, we got a podcast?
Oh, yo, you know that pisses me off when you say that. That's why you
Listen, you know, sarcasm is my love language. So
You mean antagonism is your love language. Change
whatever. One in the same. One in the same. Yeah. No, but I didn't get sick of it. I figured when you were ready to record, you'd be like, hey, let's record. And so, you know, and I know you need to be in the space and, you know, in the headspace to be able to do certain things. And when you're not, then, you know, it doesn't come off right. And then if you force yourself to do it, you get angry and you're like, oh, that sucked.
I can always go back and listen to when I'm like, yo, I forced that. And I think now I'm really like trying to recognize that, listen, like if you're forcing content, it's going to come out. I don't know if the audience will catch it, but it matters to me. So I needed that creative rest. So when we did that one episode in Ghana, then we did another episode when we got back, I was like, man, I'm just not in the groove yet. I'm not in the groove yet. I'm not going to lie. There's a little bit of ego. I still think we are the best doctor podcast out there. I do.
Of course.
And I didn't want to put anything out that was going to be whack.
Agree.
But I think to everybody who's listening to us, I'm telling you right now, go listen to other podcasts. Go listen to, like, we give you the real of the real, right? And it's not shade on anybody else, but I think we give you the real, right? Like how me and Renee are on this show, that's how we really are. The topics that we talk about, the people that we have on the show, that we ain't gonna have on the show anymore. That's the real. And real quick, yo, one thing I decided. Listen, y'all.
Nee, come on, don't.
Should I tell him?
What? Tell him what?
Yo, listen.
Like, I was saying, don't say like stuff that you gonna say today, and then tomorrow you're gonna be like, man, I changed my mind. Just leave yourself open. Leave yourself open.
Listen, if you're listening to the show right now, if you wonder if you could come on the show and be a guest, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'm checking your socials. I'm checking your tweets. I'm checking your affiliations because I think that matters.
But we were doing that before, so I don't understand why this is,
I'm really
a special announcement, a special report, breaking news.
Listen, I'm telling you, podcasts are a big deal now. Podcasts are a really big deal. You know, like I don't have to say all the names, but you know, like they are part of them. Part of some of these podcasts are really determining what's how presidential races are going to go.
Of course. Right?
People are determining how they're going to exercise based off of the information they get on some of these docs who are on these podcasts. Some people determine how they're going to lose weight. Some people determine, whatever it may be. Like if you check out, I forgot what his name. There was a podcast that Kamala Harris was on just recently, Diary of a CEO. That's a good one. But there are times when he has doctors who come on, or even psychiatrists and psychologists that come on. And I'm like, they're just spitting bullshit. But he doesn't know. To push back.
Now, any of them doctors listening to this podcast, they're gonna be like, "Wait, did he just say I was spitting BS?"
But let's talk about that. How can you, listen? That's why I always say, like, this is edutainment, right? Like, we're trying to educate, but we're also entertaining. Like, everything that we say, if I'm giving you advice on what to do for running, if we're giving you advice, obviously financially, like, you need to double check with an
Of course.
advisor,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But like, you look at some of these podcasts, and I'm not just picking on Diary of CEO. Like, Joe Rogan does it a lot. There's a lot of other podcasts that do it a lot. A lot of these doctors that appear on some of these other podcasts, they write to us first, or their PR firm writes to us first.
This is
I don't know if
true.
they write to us first, but we get
But
those
they
things.
do.
They'll talk,
Yeah, we do get
and
those.
they'll talk about like cannabis does X, Y. It's like, yeah, I don't know nothing about what cannabis. Like, some of the things that these guys talk about, it's like, how do you know this? How do you know this? Right?
L-carnitine helps you blank, blank, blank. Can you come and talk about that? No, I'm not coming to talk about L-carnitine.
That's how I know. That's how I know these PR firms, these people, they don't even be listening to our shows because we don't even talk about those things.
Correct.
So if you're listening right now and you like you're doing research on L-carnitine, don't write here. We don't want you here. I appreciate what you're doing, but you're not gonna come on here.
Don't worry, they're not listening anyway.
But don't send your PR firms because I got to go through those emails. That takes my time. Kiara and Audrey are like, come on, I don't want to go through all this stuff, you know? But listen, I want to thank the listeners for their patience. I want to thank the listeners for their continued support. That goes a long way. I think that a lot of times people who are creating, people who are starting off at a certain level, like they compare themselves to other podcasters, or they compare themselves to other people who are creating content, and they see that, oh man, these people have 1 million followers. These people write in all the time, and that can never be me, so to speak. And then like us, we have our own group of people who write in consistently, listen consistently, interact with us. So I just want to say to everybody, I recognize you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate y'all because it's a big deal. And you know, we're sharing about what we've been up to over the last month and a half. Like, if you guys want to write in and share what you've been up to, I encourage y'all to do that.
We'd love to hear that.
We'd love to hear it. So just go to the show notes or go to our website. Is our website even still working? Shit.
Your whole brain was on hiatus.
Yeah, I was on a hiatus.
Yeah, but that whole creative part of your brain's on hiatus.
You guys know how to get in touch with us. Let us know what's going on, man. So
yeah, well, everybody knows what's going on with you. Nobody knows what's going on with me. And I see you
but we didn't ask you that.
Exactly. Exactly. You didn't ask. You didn't ask.
Go ahead, Renee.
So anyway, no, I just been, as far as a podcast, I've just been following your lead. As far as everything else, most of my time has actually been...
And cut. It's time for the next segment. Let's go, guys.
Sorry, like Matt Damon.
Ain't nobody give a damn about what you up to, Renee. Shit. No, move on. Go ahead.
You know what? You got to come home. You got to come home soon. Okay? You got to come home soon.
You over here acting like they care about what's going on with you. Go ahead.
Okay, listen, walk with a helmet, Nee. Walk with a helmet, because you got to come home soon.
Go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying I've been in back to school.
Yo, she mad though, guys. She's mad. Trust me, I know my wife.
Mad. Trust me, I'm not mad. I'm really not. I'm really not. You know me. I'm not mad. No, I've been in back to school mode, pretty much. So our two boys are now in first grade and third grade. And first grade has definitely upped the ante for a little one. I think that we've shared that, you know, he has a diagnosis of ADHD, which at this point I'm like, he's doing actually pretty good considering. But yeah, we've just been in back to school mode, teaching them. If anybody knows anything about me, I used to be a teacher. Back in the day, my first job was as a tutor when I was 10. I had 2 clients, then eventually became a teacher years later in high school. So I do love to teach. I really do. And so I just enjoy, you know, creating work for my boys. And, you know, so that's really what I've been up to, you know, just child rearing for the most part. That's all. That's all I need to share. See, it It wasn't all that grandiose and, oh, I need to ponder life. And, I didn't know if I wanted to podcast anymore. And, if I create content, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't nobody want to hear you bare your soul, Nee. Damn.
And on that note, let's take a moment to give a shout out to the one and only D'Angelo. This is personal for me. He died on October 14th, 2025, literally on my birthday. When that album came out, that was a big deal for me. So,
Brown Sugar.
Oh yeah, Brown Sugar, his first album was a big deal. A lot of people who if you are a fan of neo soul, Music Soul Child, Erykah Badu, Raheem Devon, any of those people, if you are a fan of them, he was the first. He was the first one, I think, officially, to really bring in that like R&B, jazz, incense in your room, like that type of vibe, beeswax, you know what I'm saying? Like every song is like this, you know what I'm saying? Like snapping, that type of stuff,
clapping.
right?
Okay.
Right. But Brown Sugar was an amazing first album for me. And then obviously he came out with Voodoo. He also want to send some respects to his family also because, his child lost actually two parents this year, right? Or was it late last year into this year?
I think it was early this year. Angie Stone.
Yeah, Angie Stone and now D'Angelo, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, that going back to that album, like I was a big fan of Brown Sugar. I wasn't a big fan of Voodoo.
I loved Voodoo, but I'm Haitian, so.
Yeah, so for me, Voodoo.
You don't see
Voodoo
what I did there? Stop and laugh. Stop and laugh. That mess was funny.
Saying.
Stop and play.
I got what you're saying.
Stop playing. Come on.
I got what you're saying with that. But listen, Serpent. What I'm saying is, like, Brown Sugar for me was more like these are like each individual song was a hit to me, basically, right? Whereas Voodoo was an experience, like from track one all the way to the end, it was an experience, but there wasn't the highs that you would see in Brown Sugar, right?
Okay.
Like it was like you're going into a club and you're going to experience something for 2 hours, or you're going to go to a whatever it is, you're going to experience this for 2 hours, but you won't have the highs of Brown Sugar. And that was for me, like each song was literally a major hit to me, basically.
Yeah.
And for me, as a teenager, taking a bus, riding to school into Newark, with my headphones and listening to that, like that was a great album. And for me, like it just felt like I was seen, and like I felt like I was grown listening to grown folks music, and I wasn't even grown. I shouldn't have been listening to this, right?
Why? You were a teenager.
I know, but like this is grown folks type things, But it was great. Yeah. That's how I understood love to be, basically. Because it was like it was at that age that I was like, okay, I'm gonna start talking to women, to girls, and all this stuff, and you got the pimp punch, like yo, let me, and then you trying to, take stuff from the album, and it's like, man, get out of here. And it's like, oh shit, it doesn't work, right? And no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So I don't know what that was all about, but I've been thinking lately. I'm like, so whatever happened to slow jams, which neo soul is not quite slow jams, but it's kind of like the natural evolution from slow jams,
I think slow
R&B.
jams encompasses neo soul.
Yeah, right? Whatever happened to slow jams? And do you think that the dynamic that we see between men and women today are impacted by the fact that there aren't many slow jams anymore, right? Because in slow jams, men used to profess their love for women.
Yeah.
But you don't see that much anymore, right? Like obviously women still profess their love for men or whatever, still not through slow jams necessarily. But they still have that. But men don't necessarily have songs where they are professing love to women, Yeah,
I think you got a good point there. I think that in society as a whole, particularly people who listen to R&B, like that notion of being vulnerable to say those things to a woman in that way,
Yeah.
that's kind of passe now, right?
Yeah.
Mainly because like in hip hop is completely like rap music, completely, it feels like kind of just took hold of R&B, and now it's like a hybrid. And now you basically have rap that is a little bit more R&B, but then R&B completely is just on the back burner. That's how it
But
seems
they
like to me.
erased that part, right? They erased that notion of R&B where you do have that expression of love for someone else, right?
It's there. It's coming back into
Where?
mainstream. Yeah,
Where?
you have to look for it. You have to look for
I
it.
mean, you gotta be like that lady, that meme where the lady's just standing there looking like.
But it's there. Yeah, there's a lot of artists out there who are doing that, men and women aside. But it's not. You're not going to hear it on Hot 97. You're not going to hear it on. Well, I mean, you're not going to hear it on Kiss. Like you're just not going to hear it on. Well, Kiss doesn't even exist anymore.
I don't think
WBLS.
Kiss exists. Yeah.
People don't listen to the radio really that much anymore, right? So,
Right.
you're not really going to see it on playlists. It's not going to be on the top 40 of your playlist. But it's there. There are R&B people out there. R&B has made a comeback. Mainly, it's been sparked by women, actually.
Right.
But the R&B is not what it used to be in terms of like you'd listen to a radio station and probably half of the songs would be rap. The other half of the songs would be R&B.
Or you actually have a whole hour or two dedicated to slow jams, Quiet Storm, And the reason I was thinking about this because, I'm obviously when you're on social media and you're looking at stuff and, you see maybe, a reel with a man professing some sort of love to a woman, and it's like you go through the comments, you're like, damn, it's like it's the worst thing he could have possibly done in the world is to profess his love to this woman. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, you a Sam.
He dick riding. He glazing. You glazing. It's just
like, I'm like, God, how insecure do you have to be to not be able to understand that some people feel a certain way about other people, that it's okay. Like, it's okay if you have strong feelings.
But you got to remember, though, the internet, social media, that could be Twitter, Instagram,
anything.
wherever else people argue, that's not a real space. Right? I'm very honest. Let me finish my point. That's not a real space, right? Because a lot of people will say things there. A lot of people will comment on things. There's no face. There's no way to identify people. People just say things because they just say things, right? So what happens in Twitter, what happens on social media may not necessarily be happening when people actually interact with each other. So I'll leave it at that.
I used to think years ago that the internet, social media is not a real space. I don't actually believe that anymore. I think social media is actually a very real space. And I think that, you mentioned earlier in the intro that, even political, elections are potentially, if not determining, but certainly influencing how people vote, what people think, what people do, what people say, how people interact with each other, how people interact with themselves. Unfortunately, you have to get your teenagers and your preteens off of social media because they're harming themselves based on this non-real space that really is impacting their reality. And so I think social media is actually a very real space because you are taking things that happen in their lives and you are televising it for the entire world to see, and the entire world is shaming. And so that to me is real. That's real.
Well, before we get, I think we're off the tangent. We're kind of going into a circular conversation, a tangent of D'Angelo. I'll leave it to you like this. So I think I remember when, like in the early 2000s, there was The Sims, that video game where you could, create basically an artificial world and see what people would do. And then it graduated to something else. I think it was called Second Life. And then I remember PlayStation created like this second world where it was almost like a virtual world and so forth. In essence, that's where we're at. The reason I'm saying that is like the internet to me is a place where conversation occurs, people say things, but up until a couple of years ago, there really wasn't any repercussions for what you said on the internet. A lot of things right now, even to this day, that people say on the internet, they can't say in real life. That's why you have I was going to bring it back to what
in
you were saying
person,
about
you mean? Is that in person, you mean?
in person or in real life. That's what I mean, like off of the internet.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of the comments that people say on the internet, they will not necessarily say in real life in front of somebody, right? Face to face and so forth.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
I don't think they would. Right. I think
Maybe.
that's the whole thing. Right. I mean, that's the reason why in essence, that's part of the reason what you were talking about with men and women in their conversations, right? There's a lot of women right now who complain and say that men don't know how to talk to women anymore because they don't talk to women in public. They text or they send messages through Instagram, they DM and so forth. But the ability to interact in real life is completely different than how people interact on the internet.
Yeah, they ain't talking there either. They ain't talking in real life and they ain't talking on the internet either.
Well, they're talking on the internet, but they're not talking in real life. So that's why I say it's really it's like this artificial made up world where everybody feels like there's everybody's on the equal setting and so forth. But when we get into real life, a lot of those things can't be said because there's a lot of repercussions, right? But I'll leave it at that. But let's get back to this, D'Angelo. Let's finish this up. I just want to say, listen, to me, music is like a memory. I always say this. Remember, I used to say this when we were dating, like there's a soundtrack to life. Or there's a soundtrack to my life. And I definitely say that D'Angelo's music definitely was like the soundtrack to like my teenage years.
So what's the soundtrack? What soundtrack am I in? What song am I?
That's a good question.
Move. Get out the way. Get out the way.
Oh, that's not even on my soundtrack. That's not even on my soundtrack. So shout out to D'Angelo. I got to give you props, man. Rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We just finished a segment where we gave a special shout out to D'Angelo. In our next segment, we're going to talk about the top 5 financial moves that actually changed my life. So stay tuned.